Hi, my name is Badass Benny. Welcome to my channel. If you're an ACE survivor, AMAC, or human sex trafficking, welcome. You're at the right place. And it doesn't cost you a penny to like and subscribe and to put a few comments worldwide. And so today we're going to talk about male rape. And I do have a story that goes along with it. And I'll try to get interview some men survivors as well as women stories to come on here. So you survived a violent attack and you're a man, and some of your feelings may be the same as those of a female sexual assault survivor. You may feel guilt, powerlessness, concern regarding your safety. However, there are special issues which may be different for you. Sexuality and masculinity. So a lot of men that get raped, even as a child, they don't realize that that's rape because they're boys. It's not the vagina. They got raped, sodomized in the butt. So that's why they don't see it as rape. It's really messes with their head, with their heads. So medical procedures are different for men than women. Reporting to law enforcement, you get a lot of women get it too, like you know how women their skirts are too short, or maybe you brought that on because you were drunk. With men, it's kind of a given that going to tell law enforcement, they feel like they're not going to be believed because they don't see it as rape. So telling others, sharing stories, finding resources and support for men survivors. You need to know that strong or weak, outgoing or withdrawn, homosexual or heterosexual, old or young, attractive or unattractive, you have done nothing that justifies this violent attack. At no point and under no circumstances does anyone have the right to violate or control another's body. Sexual assault is a crime of violence and power, not of lust or passion. Male Rape, the Crises Nobody Wants to Hear About, by Lynn Dreyer. David was only 12 when an adult friend of his asked him to move to a movie. The anticipation of this event was almost too much for him. The reality of the incident almost destroyed him. David never made it to the movie. Instead, he was sodomized outside the theater. Mike always envied his brother's strength and ability to perform. When his brother started touching him, Mike told himself that all boys experiment. When the experiment turned into years of forced sexual penetration, Mike contemplated suicide, and for many years he was afraid of going to bed at night. Living became survival. Joe was sexually assaulted by his father for 8 years. At age 13, he ran away to a boarding school to start over. Shortly after entering the facility, he was raped by the director of the school and was beaten severely when he threatened to tell. All these men have something in common. They are victims of sexual abuse, raped and molested by those in a position of authority, with those whom they have loved and trusted. Rape is brutal, ugly word, yet it is a reality for millions of people. Both men and women in the last few years in society have begun to deal with the painful reality that 1 out of 4 women are sexually abused before the age of 18. But we have not faced the fact that 1 out of 6 males are sexually abused before the age of 18. Male victimization is a crisis nobody wants to hear about. In our society, men are expected and conditioned to be in control, to be powerful, to be strong, and to never be afraid. Yet for many men, sexual assault is traumatic, life-threatening experience, until recently a hidden secret and crime. Same-sex assault is an act of power and hostility, expressed through physical violence and sexual aggression. Contrary to the belief, only a small percentage, about 4% of the same-sex assaults are homosexual assaults. Some victims are gay men, some are not. The presence of negative cultural stereotype and hostile messages about homosexuality added to the victim's shame response. Some victims are assaulted by women Additionally, society's expectations for men to be in control and the message to men to go for it in areas of male-female relationships creates feelings of powerlessness and guilt for male victims. One victim shares his devastation and feelings of self-hatred after being sexually assaulted by a female acquaintance. I wore a mask of ultimate self-deception. If one word could be used, it would be hatred. I wore a mask of ultimate self-deception. If one word could be used, it would be hatred. I know I repeated that. The festering sore of sexual abuse was extremely prevalent. My nightmares were filled with untold tales of anger, guilt, and shame. Although men who have been victimized suffer and are left to deal with the feelings of pain, similar to women who have been raped, the fact remains most crimes of male victimization are unreported, and a lot of men are reluctant to go to crisis centers for support. The feelings of a male victim works through an intense and traumatic. As Mike experienced, isolation was a way of life for him. He said, I was extremely overweight and chemically dependent. I had sleeping and eating disorders, and I was suicidal. David felt extremely twisted. I didn't know if I was a man or woman. I knew I was a female, yet men didn't get raped. I was constantly afraid of intimate situations, especially those that involved touching. I was untouchable and very angry. I was so afraid that when people got close, I would negatively act out of rage. This got me into trouble so that when I was in high school, I finally joined the school wrestling team where violence was encouraged and accepted. As indicated, the effects of the victimization that carried into relationships often became the crucial factor in seeking help. It is estimated that 85% of victims become perpetrators if they do not deal adequately with their issues. When their anger starts controlling them, often that is when they seek out professional help. Joe is now 35 years old and father of 6 children. He initially sought help because he was afraid of interacting with his children and afraid of hurting them as he was hurt by his father. I'm very uptight around people. I didn't trust women and I'm afraid of men. I've lost several jobs because of my fears. I kept my distance. I haven't been to a doctor for years, and I am afraid of being seen by a woman physician, and I refuse to see a male doctor. I have been betrayed too many times. Sexual assault against men is no myth, and crises centers dealing with sexual assault victims are beginning to provide services to men and educating the public on the myths that exist. There is now a support group for men who have been victimized. The group is confidential, supportive, and provides a healing environment. It is a safe place for men to express their feelings and deal with abuse and how it was impacted their lives. The first step is recognizing that sexual assault is a reality for many women and men. Although this is a disturbing acknowledgement, it is vital for us to begin to understand, for acceptance is essential to healing and recovery. My perception of the recovery process is better today. Today I do not wish to close the door on the past, nor do I live with immense shame. When a petal falls off a beautiful rose, is it any less a rose? I'm a male victim. I'm a recovering human being. Now what are you going to do to take care of yourself today?